While the Liberal and NDP leaders are taking their campaigns to Saskatchewan today as the federal election race is approaching the halfway mark.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is set to make an announcement and speak at the First Nations Summit in Vancouver before making his way to Saskatoon for a campaign event. Liberal leader Mark Carney is expected to make an announcement and meet with young supporters and volunteers in Calgary before heading to Saskatoon as well. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is set to hold a news conference in Northern Ontario, Sault Ste. Marie, and then attend a rally in Brampton. The full list of candidates in ridings across the country is also now available via Elections Ontario.
Okay, joining us now for daily analysis of the federal election race. Once again, we turn to CTV News political commentator Scott Reid this morning. Scott, this is the weird week in the campaign. We're in between the debates and then the final home stretch here. But I know you want to talk about advertising today because, of course, you talked about, the campaigns putting some paid behind their messages. What are you seeing? What do you want to highlight here this morning?
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a less explored part of campaigns, but it really, really matters. So where are the campaigns putting their money? What is their message when it comes to advertising? And there's kind of two streams to oversimplify it. There's all the digital ads that come streaming onto your phone, and that, every time you open up a page, it pops up. And then there's the big mass advertising that we still see. That's on CP24. That's on hockey games. That's on Jeopardy. And just say, when it comes to that big advertising, the mass advertising effort, let's have a look. There's a Liberal ad that's been running, and it's really been the only ad running for most of the campaign, and it's still in rotation. What's interesting about it is it focuses on Mark Carney by the Liberals, but it isn't about the zeitgeist issue of Trump, tariffs, and economic insecurity. It's about an issue. It's about housing.
Used to build things in this country. After the Second World War, Canada faced a housing crisis. The government built prefabricated homes that were easy to assemble and inexpensive. And those homes are still here 80 years later. Now we're in another housing crisis. And it's time your government got back into the business.
So that's fine. That ad is fine. That's great. And let's not underestimate how important housing is, particularly here in the GTA. Mm-hmm. But Mark Carney is on track to be prime minister, or to be main prime minister, because of one issue, and that's Trump and tariffs. It's interesting that they haven't played that card as heavy in this kind of mass advertising effort. So will we see them make an adjustment? Now let's talk about the Conservatives. Really, what's interesting about the Conservatives is their mass ad has been fundamentally about Pierre Poilievre. It's an excerpt ad, we call it, an excerpt of him on the stump. So you see him at the podium, live footage of him shot talking about the campaign. And then what we see, now this is an ad that they've just recently rotated on. So what they've been doing is advertising a positive ad about Pierre Poilievre, clipping his stump speech. But now this past couple of days, they moved to that black and white ad you just saw, which is a negative ad, aimed hard at Carney. And I think that's an interesting choice. And I suspect you're going to see that on television everywhere for the next week to 10 days leading up to the debate. And you're probably going to see it on your phone, on Facebook, everywhere else that you're looking. And the reason is the Liberals are winning. And the Conservatives need to bring the Carney kite back down to earth. So they're going hard. They're going negative. I'd watch for a lot more of this.
Yeah. Okay. And Scott, it's interesting because the latest Nanos poll, it's rolled over 3 days, but it is showing that the gap is narrowing, about a 4-point difference now between the Liberals and the Conservatives. And we've seen these rallies with Pierre Poilievre. I mean, just in Edmonton, upwards of like 10,000 people attending these rallies. So obviously, it seems like there's some momentum happening. What are they doing to create this? Or is it what Trump is doing or not doing that's causing this kind of change or shift we're seeing?
First of all, let's see. Nick is a little bit ahead of where most people are. Most other of the polling outfits that are credible haven't shown this much movement for the Conservatives. They haven't seen this much of a narrowing of the race. So is Nick ahead of the pack? And we'll see that this shows up in other people's polling. Second question is, if it's happening, the reason it's happening is that there's been a little bit of a shift on the part of Trump away from punishing Canada to punishing the whole world. Now, obviously, that sideswipes us and creates anxiety. But it's not just about Canada. Maybe that's giving the Conservative message a little room to blossom, a little oxygen, and a little opportunity.
Okay, we'll have to see what happens, like you said, over the next 10 days, because then we lead into the debates, and that's another frame of the election as well. Scott Reid, always appreciate it. We'll see you back here Thursday morning.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely. See you guys.
Take it easy.